My name is Carrie Vera, and after Teresa's call, my world stopped being soft around the edges. Everything Gabriel did suddenly had a double meaning, like I was seeing him through glass for the first time, distorted, sharp, dangerous. That night, he cooked dinner like nothing was wrong. The kids ran around the living room, arguing about who got the last slice of garlic bread, and Gabriel hummed under his breath while stirring the pot of pasta. Normally, that kind of domestic quiet would have calmed me, but now it made my skin feel too tight. Every time his phone buzzed, he reached for it faster than usual. Every time he laughed at a message, my stomach twisted. I kept replaying Teresa's voice in my head. Carrie, I think Gabriel and Daria were more than friends. That sentence crawled under my skin like something alive. I didn't say anything that night, not yet. I just watched him, memorizing every micro-expression, every lie disguised as a smile. He didn't come to bed until after midnight. He stayed up on the couch, claiming he was watching highlights of old games, but I could hear the faint murmur of someone on speaker. A woman's voice, low, laughing. He lowered the volume when I walked near the hallway. That's when the first crack split open inside me. The next morning, I woke up to his side of the bed still warm. He'd gotten up early. When I walked into the kitchen, he was rinsing a plate, humming. Again. Too happy, too normal. He kissed my cheek on his way out the door. If Teresa hadn't called me, I might have kissed him back like nothing was wrong. But now, I wiped my cheek the moment his lips lifted. Something had changed. I just hadn't shown him yet. I started small, listening. Whenever he went on the back porch at night, claiming he needed fresh air, I'd slip quietly to the side door of the laundry room. The metal frame always kept a faint echo, a perfect amplifier. "Stop, you're crazy," I heard him whisper one night, his voice low and playful. "You know I can't tonight. The kids are here." The kids were always here. Whoever was on the other end giggled. I couldn't hear her words, just the way her voice rose slightly at the end of each sentence like she was teasing him. I held my breath, fingers gripping the laundry shelf so tight my knuckles hurt. "And that club was fun," Gabriel murmured. Yeah, that one. I remember." I didn't, because I hadn't been there. He came inside a few minutes later, smiling faintly at his phone. When he saw me folding laundry on the couch, his expression shifted. Just a second, but enough, like I was somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. "Who was that?" I asked, forcing my tone to be light. He blinked once, twice. "My sister. She's asking about Mom's prescription." Another lie, another bandage slapped on top of a bullet wound. He walked past me toward the bedroom, phone still glowing in his hand. I stared at the laundry pile until I felt tears slip down my face without permission. No shouting, no confrontation, just quiet betrayal leaking out of me like a slow poison. The next few days were worse. He smiled less, hid his phone more, showered at weird times, sprayed cologne before running quick errands at night. He'd always been a little vain. But now? He spent longer than usual trimming his beard, fixing his hair, choosing shirts. One night, as he was changing, I watched him take out a pair of tight black athletic briefs I'd never seen before. Not the ones I bought, not the ones he owned. Something new, something meant to be seen by someone. "Going somewhere?" I asked. He didn't look at me. "Just heading out with Brandon. Boy stuff. Don't wait up." Boy stuff. At 10 p.m. with cologne thick enough to choke a horse. He left before I could say another word. I sat on the edge of the bed after he was gone, staring at the empty space where his body should have been. I realized then that I needed more than suspicion, more than Teresa's story, more than late-night whispers and new underwear. I needed proof. Something undeniable. Something that would make him choke on his own lies. The next morning, I did something I never thought I'd do. I sat in the parking lot of an electronics store and ordered a voice-activated recorder. I didn't want it delivered to our house. Gabriel would ask too many questions, so I had it shipped to my friend's address instead. When it arrived, I held the little device in my hand like it was both salvation and a weapon. Late that night, while Gabriel was in the shower, I slipped into the garage. His car door was unlocked. I slid the recorder beneath the driver's seat, tucked deep enough that no one would find it unless they were looking. My hands were shaking when I stepped back into the house. If he wasn't cheating, nothing would happen. If he was, I would finally have the truth. That Saturday was supposed to be family time. Gabriel had told me the kids wanted to watch a Pixar movie with their cousins. "I'll take them," he said, smiling like the perfect parent. "Let them have a fun day." It sounded sweet, thoughtful, too thoughtful. The kids left with him around noon, all excited, shouting about popcorn and slushies. Gabriel kissed my cheek, told me he'd be home around 4. 4 came, 4:30, 5. No Gabriel, no kids. Then my phone rang. It was my nephew. "Aunt Carrie, can I come over after the movie? Uncle Gabriel said he'd bring us back home." I frowned. "Bring you back? I thought he stayed to watch the movie with you." Silence. Then, "No, he dropped us off. He said he had to run errands." My heart sank. "Sweetheart, what time did he leave?" Right after he bought us the tickets. Maybe 15 minutes in?" I ended the call and sat frozen on the edge of the couch. He lied, again, but this time it wasn't just about him. He lied using the kids as cover. Teresa's words hit me again like a punch. He was seeing Daria on Saturdays. I checked the time, 3:52 p.m. Shipping overtime ended at 4:30. There was still time. My hands moved before my brain did. I grabbed my keys, my phone, and barely remembered to lock the door on my way out. I called Gabriel once, twice, 3 times. No answer. I called the warehouse security desk. A tired woman picked up. "Hi," I said, voice tight. "Is the shipping team still there?" "Yes," she said. "They're wrapping up now." That was all I needed. I drove like something feral had taken over me. Every red light was an enemy. Every bump in the road was a warning. My pulse hammered through my whole body. By the time I pulled into the warehouse parking lot, I was shaking so hard I had to grab the steering wheel just to steady myself. And then I saw it. Gabriel's car, parked crookedly, still warm from running, still humming softly. My breath fogged against the windshield. I unbuckled my seatbelt, opened the door, and stepped out onto the cement. This was the moment everything turned. Not suspicion, not fear. Truth, cold and sharp, waiting just behind the double doors. After Teresa's call, the world around me stopped feeling familiar. Every gesture Gabriel made suddenly felt like a performance. Every smile felt rehearsed. Every laugh suspicious. Every touch hollow. He cooked dinner that night the same way he always did. Music playing softly, pasta boiling, garlic bread in the oven. The kids argued over cups and crayons, running through the house like tiny storms. Everything looked normal, almost painfully normal. But nothing felt normal. His phone buzzed on the counter. He snatched it up like it was a secret that might explode if anyone else touched it. He angled the screen away from me, laughed quietly, typed fast. I stirred the pasta with a wooden spoon and tried not to cry into it. If Teresa hadn't called me that day, if she hadn't told me what she saw, I probably would have brushed it all off as paranoia. But now, the doubt was everywhere, sitting on my skin like static. Later that night, he went to the living room, claiming he wanted to watch a little TV before bed. But the lights stayed dim, and the glow from his phone reflected against the wall. I heard a woman's voice, soft, playful, through the speaker. He lowered the volume the moment I stepped into the hallway. That tiny click of the volume button felt like a gunshot. When he finally came to bed, he smelled like cologne he hadn't worn in months. The next day, he woke up before me. I found him standing by the kitchen sink, rinsing a plate, humming, always humming. He kissed my cheek as if everything was as steady as ever. But the second he walked out the door, I wiped my cheek clean. I couldn't pretend anymore, not even a little. That evening, when the kids were finally asleep, he slipped outside to get some air. The back porch door clicked shut, and I moved toward the side entrance of the laundry room, where the thin metal door carried sound perfectly. "Stop," he whispered into his phone. His voice was low, intimate. "You're crazy." A giggle followed, soft, feminine. I felt my chest squeeze. "No, not tonight," he murmured. "The kids are here." The kids were always here. That didn't stop him from doing anything else. She said something. Another giggle. He chuckled back, a sound I hadn't heard directed at me in a long time. He came inside a moment later, wearing that lazy half-smile he used to use on me. He froze when he saw me folding laundry in the living room. "Who was that?" I asked. He barely blinked. "My sister. She wanted to talk about Mom's prescription." A lie so quick it didn't even break stride. He disappeared into the bedroom, phone still glowing in his hand. I stayed where I was, clothes half folded in my lap, the room spinning around me as quiet tears slipped down my cheeks. I didn't make a sound. I didn't chase him. I didn't confront him. Not yet. Days passed, and each one peeled back more layers of truth. He showered late, sprayed cologne before quick errands, took extra time trimming his beard, brushing his hair, choosing shirts he hadn't worn in months. Not for me. I knew that now. One night, I opened our dresser to grab a sweater and saw a pair of black athletic briefs tucked into his drawer. Tight ones. New ones. the kind he never wore. The kind meant to be seen. Going somewhere? I asked from the doorway. He didn't even turn. Just out with Brandon. Don't wait up. Brandon. Right. The human shield he used whenever he needed a clean alibi. He left without looking at me. I sat alone on the edge of the bed, staring at the empty space beside me, where he used to sleep like he belonged there. My stomach twisted with a sickening truth. I needed proof, something undeniable, something he couldn't spin into another lie. The next morning, I parked in front of an electronics store and ordered a voice-activated recorder. I had it shipped to a friend's addresses to avoid raising suspicion. When I held the small device in my hand later that week, it felt like both a lifeline and a weapon. That night, while Gabriel showered, I slipped quietly into the garage. His car door was unlocked. He never locked anything when he didn't think he should hide from someone. I slid the recorder beneath the driver's seat, deep enough to vanish into the shadows. My hands shook the entire time. If he wasn't cheating, the recorder would stay quiet. If he was, I'd know. Finally. Saturday came with sunshine and cartoons and Gabriel acting like the world was softer than it really was. The kids want to watch a Pixar movie with their cousins, he said casually. I'll take them. Give you a break. A break? From what? The relationship he was destroying piece by piece? The kids climbed into the car, all excitement and loud voices. Gabriel kissed my cheek before driving off. I didn't kiss him back. Hours passed, no update, no photos of popcorn and theater seats, no on our way back. Then the phone rang. It was my nephew. Aunt Carrie, can I come over after the movie? Uncle Gabriel said he'll drop us off. My heart thudded. Sweetie, I thought he stayed with you guys. No, he said innocently. He left right after it started. He said he had errands. He lied, again, but this time he used the kids as a shield. I swallowed hard. What time did he leave? Like 15 minutes after the movie started. I hung up slowly and stared at the wall, blood roaring in my ears. Teresa's voice echoed in my mind. He used Saturdays to see Daria. I checked the time. 3:52 p.m. Shipping overtime ended around 4:30. There was still time. I grabbed my keys and left so fast I didn't even remember locking the door. I called Gabriel. No answer. I called again. Nothing. Then I dialed the warehouse security desk. Is the shipping team still inside? I asked. Yeah, she said. They're wrapping up. Wrapping up what? I didn't say another word. I just drove. My pulse hammered as I pulled into the parking lot. I scanned the rows of cars. And then I saw it. Gabriel's car. Parked crookedly, engine ticking softly, freshly used. My breath hitched, my hands trembled. Whatever truth was hiding behind those double doors, I was ready to face it. The warehouse looked different that day. Colder, bigger. The concrete felt heavier under my shoes as I crossed the parking lot, each step echoing louder than the last. Somewhere deep inside, I already knew what I was walking toward, but some fragile part of me kept whispering, maybe it won't be what you think. Maybe there's still another explanation. But Gabriel's car, parked crooked, still warm from running, didn't leave much room for hope. The glass doors slid open with that automatic sigh, and the familiar chemical smell of the warehouse, machine oil, cardboard, dust, hit me like a memory I didn't want anymore. A large guy from stocking stepped into the hallway, frowning when he saw me. You can't be back here, he said, blocking my path. Employees only. My voice came out calm, too calm. Move. He didn't. Ma'am, I'm serious. I stared him straight in the face. Something in me had snapped so cleanly that even he felt it. I stepped closer, lowering my voice to a razor's edge. Move, now. He must have realized I wasn't bluffing because he swallowed hard and stepped aside. I didn't waste a second. I walked deeper into the building, past rows of shelving, past the hum of conveyor belts, past workers turning their heads as I stormed through like someone possessed. I headed straight for the shipping area. That's where the Saturday overtime crew worked. That's where Daria worked. That's where he would be. The warehouse air got colder as I approached the double metal doors leading to the loading dock. The signs, the pallet jacks, the loud beep of reversing forklifts. It all blurred into background noise. I pushed through the doors. The shipping dock workers froze when they saw me. One guy dropped a stack of labels. Another took off his gloves slowly, watching me like I was a live wire about to spark. No Gabriel, no Daria, no Brandon. But their jackets were gone from the hanger, which meant they were still here. Someone from the crew stepped forward. Ma'am, look, you gotta go. This isn't... Where is he? I asked. He hesitated. Who? Gabriel. Silence. Eyes darting. Everyone suddenly busy doing nothing. The silence was my answer. My heart slammed against my ribs, but my voice stayed steady. He's in the trucker lounge, isn't he? More silence. Then one guy muttered under his breath, "Don't get in the middle of that." Another elbowed him, but it was too late. I already knew. The trucker lounge was a small room at the back. It used to be where truck drivers waited while their trailers were loaded, but after new rules, the room became mostly abandoned. Except, apparently, when someone needed privacy. I headed toward it, ignoring the voices behind me. The hallway felt endless. The sound of my own footsteps roared in my ears. Then, a laugh, low, feminine, too familiar, and a man's voice, breathless. My stomach twisted. I reached the door and stopped just short of touching it. Voices spilled out faintly, mixed with the muffled thump of music coming from someone's phone speaker. The sound wasn't innocent. It wasn't professional. It was intimate. I pressed myself against the wall, leaned just enough to look through the 2-inch gap between the door and the frame. My blood turned to ice. Gabriel was sitting on the old, ripped couch, pants undone, shirt unbuttoned halfway. His head was tilted back, one arm draped over the top of the couch like he was posing for a sick photograph. And kneeling between his legs, Daria. Her dark ponytail hung over her shoulder as she moved slowly, like she had all the time in the world. Gabriel's hand rested on the back of her head, guiding her. He wasn't just involved, he was relaxed, comfortable. Like this wasn't the first time, like she belonged there. My breath caught in my throat. My heart stopped beating for a moment, just flatlined under the weight of betrayal. I didn't cry, I didn't gasp, I didn't collapse. I just raised my phone. My hands barely shook as I hit record. 7 full seconds, enough to destroy every lie he'd ever told me. When I stopped recording, something inside me snapped into place, a cold, terrifying clarity. I swung the door open so hard it slammed against the wall. "Are you enjoying yourself?" Gabriel jolted violently, shoving Daria back. Daria stumbled, wiping her mouth with the back of her hand, mascara smudging beneath her eyes. "Carrie, what are you doing here?" Gabriel blurted. I laughed. It came out sharp and broken. "What am I doing here? Maybe ask yourself what you're doing here." Daria crossed her arms and looked away, like she was embarrassed only because she got caught. Gabriel stood up, zipping his pants with shaking hands. "This isn't... Carrie, just calm down." "Calm?" I stepped forward. "Calm? You're telling me to calm down while she's still kneeling?" Daria rolled her eyes. "Can you just go? Like, seriously? We're in the middle of something." The audacity. The absolute, breathtaking audacity. I stared at her, then at him. "You cheated on me. 8 months. 10 months. Who knows how long?" Gabriel clenched his jaw. "Carrie, listen." "No," I snapped. "You don't get to talk. Not after this." Daria muttered. "This is so dramatic." "It's disgusting," I corrected her. "But dramatic works, too." Gabriel suddenly exploded. "Why are you even here?" "Because you lied," I said, stepping closer. "Because you left the kids at the movies while you came here to screw her. Because Teresa told me everything. Because you thought I'd never find out." His face drained of color. "You talked to Teresa?" "Oh, she talked plenty." I lifted my phone. "And so will this." His eyes widened. "You recorded us?" "Yes," I said, "and I'm keeping it." Daria scoffed. "You can't use that." I turned to her slowly. "Watch me." Gabriel ran a hand through his hair, pacing. "Carrie, please don't do this. It's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think," I said, "and I'm done." He froze. "Done? What do you mean done?" "I mean whatever we were, whatever I thought we were, it ends here." He opened his mouth, but I cut him off. "And before you ask, yes, I want a breakup. And yes, you're moving out." Daria smirked. "He didn't love you anyway." I turned my head slowly, looking her dead in the eyes. "Sweetheart, he doesn't love you either. You're just convenient." She flinched. I didn't wait for more. I walked out. Left the shipping dock behind me. Left the double doors swinging. Left the man I once loved, kneeling in the ruins he created. By the time I reached my car, my legs finally gave out, and I collapsed into the driver's seat. The world spun. My chest felt squeezed. I didn't scream, I didn't sob, not yet. I started the engine and drove home with shaking hands, my mind blank except for one thought. I warned myself not to be the jealous one, not to overreact, not to assume the worst. But the truth? The worst was always happening right in front of me, and I was done ignoring it. I didn't sleep the night I caught Gabriel. I don't know if anyone could. I sat on my brother's couch with a blanket around my shoulders and the video on my phone in front of me, paused at the exact frame where Daria was kneeling and Gabriel's hand rested casually behind her head. I didn't press play again. I didn't need to. The image burned itself into my memory so deeply that I could see it even when I blinked. My brother checked on me every hour, making me drink water, reminding me to breathe, reminding me that I wasn't alone. He didn't ask questions. He didn't lecture me. He didn't say, "I told you so." He just sat beside me, sometimes pressing his shoulder gently against mine like an anchor. I didn't cry until the sun came up, and when the first tear fell, the rest followed, like a flood breaking through a dam that had been rattling for months. By mid-morning, I was done. Empty. Clean in a way heartbreak sometimes forces you to be. I left my brother's house and returned home to face whatever mess Gabriel had left behind. Except he wasn't there. Of course he wasn't. Cowards rarely stand in storms they create. The house was quiet when I walked in. Too quiet, like the walls were holding their breath. The kids had slept at my sister's place, and for once, I was grateful for timing. I went straight to the bedroom. His clothes were still in the drawers. His cologne bottle sat on the dresser. A pair of his shoes were beside the bed, thrown carelessly like always. His phone charger was plugged in, his hoodie on the chair. But none of it felt like his anymore. I opened the windows and let the light in. The space felt brighter, colder, more honest. I gathered his things methodically. Shirts, hoodies, shoes, belts, the cologne he loved spraying 5 times too many. I folded nothing. I placed everything in black garbage bags, tied each one tightly, and set them by the front door. Then I walked through the house with a trash bag and picked up what hurt: the framed picture of us from Jamaica, the ticket stubs from concerts, the keychain he bought me on our 2nd anniversary, the handwritten notes he used to leave on the fridge when he still pretended to love me. I threw them away, not out of anger, out of clarity. He did not deserve the space he once occupied. That afternoon, I changed every lock in the house. My brother stood beside me, handing me the tools, watching the door like Gabriel might suddenly appear and demand entry. But he didn't. He didn't call. He didn't text. Not to explain, not to apologize, not to beg. He simply vanished. The silence spoke more loudly than his betrayal ever could. Around 7 p.m., Gabriel's sister, Christina, called. I let it ring 3 times before I answered. "What happened?" she asked immediately. "Gabriel came here, and he looked a mess. He won't tell me anything." I exhaled slowly. "Ask him." She paused. "He said you kicked him out. Said you overreacted." I laughed once, sharp, humorless. "Did he tell you why?" Silence. "Christina," I said, "your brother has been cheating on me for months, with a girl from his job, and I caught him, at his workplace, yesterday." Her breath hitched. No, he wouldn't." I sent the video. Her phone dinged. She fell silent for nearly a minute. Then, I'm so sorry." For once, she didn't defend him. She didn't try to twist the narrative. She didn't blame me, or shrug, or justify it. She just whispered an apology, and for the first time since this began, I felt a piece of pain loosen in my chest. "I'm done," I said softly, "and I need you to respect that. From now on, everything goes through email. I'm not having any more conversations with him." She didn't argue. Maybe even she knew there was nothing left to salvage. A few days later, I scheduled a meeting with his warehouse management team. I walked into the office wearing black slacks and a calmness I had earned the hard way. They asked what happened. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I simply opened my phone and hit play. They watched 7 seconds of truth. 7 seconds that ended whatever he thought he would get away with. The manager's expression hardened. The HR rep wrote something down. And within 48 hours, Gabriel's badge was deactivated. He was terminated for misconduct. Not because of me, because of his choices. When the call came confirming it, I didn't feel joy or revenge. Just closure. A quiet, steady closing of a door that had been hanging open for too long. Despite everything, the kids were the hardest part. When they came home, they asked where he was. I didn't lie. I sat them down gently and explained. Gabriel won't be living here anymore. He made choices that weren't kind or honest. But none of it is your fault, and I will always be here, always. The oldest cried. The middle child hugged me so tightly I could barely breathe. The youngest just stared for a long time before whispering, "We still get to stay here with you, right?" I nodded. Always. We all cried together then, quietly, huddled on the couch in the home that was ours again. Gabriel never showed up. Not that day, not the next, not the next week. He sent one email later, asking when he could pick up his things. I left the garbage bags on the driveway with a note. "Take them. Do not knock. Do not ring. Do not come back." He obeyed. He never stepped foot near the house again. In the weeks that followed, something strange happened. The house became lighter. The shadows he used to leave behind began to lift, like someone slowly pulled dark film off the windows. I slept without waking up to check my phone. I cooked without forcing a smile. I breathed without imagining someone else's perfume on his clothes. And piece by piece, I found myself again. Not the version he liked. Not the version I molded to please him. Not the version that swallowed doubts to avoid fights. But the woman who had survived him. The woman who walked into a warehouse full of strangers and took her truth back. The woman who changed her locks, her boundaries, her life. The woman who didn't look away when everything fell apart, and didn't look back once it was over. Sometimes freedom doesn't arrive like a miracle. Sometimes it walks in quietly through the wreckage you refuse to ignore.